Mm.
Yeah. Now, in that situation, if I was in that situation, I would probably say something similar to you. Yeah.
Mm.
I would say, well, that'll. I would be very brutal in my sort of the picture I create. I would say, well, that'll put a rocket up your ass. Okay. That'll that if you don't want to be like that, then you need to work very hard. Um,
Mm.
but we have to remember it's not really a but. It's there's another side. There's a
Mm.
contrast, and the contrast is we have to remember you're either motivated by fear or you're motivated by love.
Mm.
Now, fear and love are two sides of the same thing. They don't exist without each other. They need each other. Um, however, um, love is more powerful
Mm.
because your love you have much more control over, and it's a much more positive reaction. Um, and so, for example, here, uh, the middle class of society are always motivated by looking at the poor people of society. The, the middle class are more motivated by the poor than they are by the
Mhm.
rich
Mm.
because the middle class are scared.
Okay.
They're scared that they're going to become the
Mhm.
poor.
Mhm.
It's a fear, right? It's a fear, and fear is dangerous motivation because it can lead to us making bad choices, bad decisions based on the wrong kinds of motivation. Um, for example, do you marry someone because you love them, or do you marry someone because you fear that you will be alone?
Mm.
The result, the decision is the same decision, but the motivation to make the decision is extremely important because it's very different motivation. Now, you see a
Mm.
lot of people who are together because they love each other, and at the same time, there are a lot of people who are together because they fear being alone. And obviously, one road is a long-term positive road, and the other road is a long-term negative road. And the principle of why are these children looking into the bins for food or whatever, something they can sell or exchange or whatever.
Mm.
The reason why is that they they didn't get any values from their parents. And when you don't give your children values, you don't give them any love, basically. The children are not loved by their parents because what loving parent wants to see their child doing an activity like that? It's not only is it socially degrading, very lower class, it's unhealthy. There's diseases and other things that people can pick up in that area. And and so the reason why these people are doing this is because the reason why these children are doing this is because they're not loved. Because you could you can probably get enough energy out of love to survive, even if
Mm.
you don't have any food. Yep. Yep.
Mm.
And what is the only thing that will change that? The only thing that will change that is loving these people enough to give them the self-belief that they can change. That's the only thing that will have a positive effect. If you see someone doing something negative, whoever, wherever, whatever, doesn't matter, then you can have negative feelings towards that person, like, oh, what a terrible person, or you can have empathetic, positive feelings towards that person, saying, I wonder what happened to that
Mm.
person to cause them to think that this is the right way to go,
Mm.
because obviously it's not, and they didn't get the answer is always the same. They didn't get the love, they didn't get the care, they didn't get the attention, the they didn't get the learning, they didn't learn skills, they didn't learn about health and society and uh, what is a better way for people to work and operate and communicate with each other. They didn't they didn't have people paying attention to them and sharing practical and positive skills with them.
Mm.
And it is one motivation, but I look at it like this. People are either running away from something or they're running towards something. Now, when you look at it from the outside, you see the same thing. You see a person moving. You
Mhm.
see a person going to work every day, right? And you don't see if they're running away from something or they're running towards something.
Mhm.
But if you're running away from something, you've got no direction because you could go anywhere, any way. And there are some times in life where that's actually a positive thing. But, usually when you're younger, where you can still change direction. You can still have new
Mhm.
experiences. You can still travel and do things. Um, and then there's the other side, which is you're running towards something, which is a specific target, a specific goal, somewhere where you want to be, some kind of person. It's always better when it's a type of character that you want to be, a type of person that you want to be, because um, the the job that you do doesn't really matter as much as the type of person that you are, because everybody wants to work with nice people,
Mhm.
and good people can learn almost any skill given enough time. The people want to work with nice people. It's just one of those things, and so I think that a lot of mistakes happen when we've got a choice to focus on what is positive and what is negative in something, and we focus on the negative motivation rather than the positive motivation, because both motivate.
Mhm.
Both, both, both motivate. And think about the passing the exam, getting into the school. You think about if you've got that goal, if you've got that target, if you've got that vision, it's very helpful in driving you in the right direction. Um, but not everybody is motivated by their future. Some people are motivated by I don't want to go back. Right? Think about those sports people who grow up very, very poor, and then they play basketball or American football and they make money, and they're motivated by the fact they don't want to go back to the poor,
Mhm.
the poverty that they had when they were younger. And I as parents, we're always looking for quick lessons that we can give to our kids that will keep them moving forward. And it's I think reality is just a little bit more complex than that, because the reason why the kids are there is something that you can't see, which is you can't see the fact that their parents don't really love them enough or give them enough care or give them enough attention. That's why the
Mhm.
kids are there. The kids are there because the parents are not there for them. That's why they're there. And then, children hopefully understand that they have opportunities because their parents are there for them.
Mhm.
And then that creates positive steps towards the future. It's about the values, it's about the love, it's about the habits, it's about the role. Again, these children believe that this is their role.
Mhm.
They believe it's their job. They believe it's the right thing to do. Otherwise, they wouldn't do it.
Mhm.
Because nobody walks around every day doing things that they think are wrong. Nobody.
Mhm.
There doesn't exist a person walking around going, I'm going to do this because this is wrong, and I'm going to do this because this is wrong. People just do what they know,
Mm-hmm. Yes,
which
that's
is
true.
which is what they believe is right or what they're taught is right. Which is again why we need religion, because we need some rules or some stories that help us understand what is right. And these kids probably don't have that. They probably don't have parents who are religious. They probably have never been to a church. They don't know any of the characters from the Bible. They don't know uh, any of the principles. They've got no moral foundation. Um, there's nothing to hold on to.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have nothing to hold on to, you you don't have any values, and you don't even value yourself. Then you surround yourself with people who don't value themselves, and you all get together and you go to the bin and you look in
Mm-hmm.
and you and you look inside, and it's hard for them because a lot of those kids don't have they don't they never had a chance. They never had a
Mm-hmm.
choice. They never had somebody there to care for them. You can picture in your head the mom and the dad, right? I mean, it's a horrible picture, right, of those children,
Mm-hmm.
because the mom and the dad of those kids obviously think that this is okay.
No, yes, of course, and they are waiting what these kids will bring home.
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly. Probably sent the kids
They
to
can
these
sell
places
these
to get
things.
stuff that they can sell.
Yes, of course.
Absolutely. Oh
Mm.
my gosh. Yeah, yeah. I see. It.
So it is really the job of children.
Wow.
Mm.
And what that's the key understanding point there. That
Mm.
that that Well, okay. Tell me why you don't do that. You don't do that because I'd lose. Cause if I said that to my kids, right? And I'd say that to my son, like, tell me why you don't do that, and my son would be like, because Dad, you'd go crazy. Yeah.
Yes, of course.
Well, to have that wide open future is it's a very beautiful thing. It's like you see the horizon all around you, and you can go in any direction. And it's very interesting what you wrote about going to bed and the conversations at
Mm-hmm.
bedtime, or the conversations before bedtime.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because last night I put my kids to bed, and my daughter wanted to talk and talk and talk and talk and talk, and I was like, I need
Yes.
to go to bed. I can't focus. And my daughter was blah 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 blah. And and Dad, when I'm older, can I travel? And Dad, when I'm older, I don't know what I want to be when I'm older. I really don't know. I don't know what I want to be, and but I know I want to travel, and I want to see things, and I want us all to travel together. And Dad, will we be together when I'm older? Will we all be together? Will I be together with my brothers and sisters when I'm older? Will we all be? Will we all? Because I want to travel together with my brothers and sisters and you and Mom, and I want to travel, so I want us all to be together, so that we can travel
Mm-hmm.
around. And when we travel around, and she had this book of places in the world that she was reading, and she
Mm-hmm.
was saying, I want to go here and I want to go there, and I want to take all these things with me when we travel. And Dad, blah blah. And I was like, that's great. That's great, darling. Yes, yes. We'll all be together. Now I need to go to bed. Good night.
Yes.
But but the honesty and the openness was there, and um, it's definitely an important time to connect
Mm.
with the children. Um, you know, the And sometimes for busy parents, the first moment of the day and the first moments of the day and the last moments of the day are really the only time that they have to connect. Because the day is just a million things happening at the same time. And as you go as you go through the day, more and more influences, more and more things, more and more information is coming to a person, and it gets difficult to have some clarity on those ideas. Um, but I was reading what you wrote, and I was thinking about my own experiences and thinking, yeah, it's very true that those those little conversations are very, very important. Making those connections at the beginning and the end of the day. And and I remember growing up that I didn't know what I wanted to do. I remember being a teenager thinking, oh, people saying, well, what do you want to do in your future career? I don't know.
I don't know. Of course.
I, I don't know. I guess I should do something that I'm good at. I don't know. I'm good at sort of sports and arts, and I like reading some stuff, and maybe I should do something with that. Um, but I don't think that I don't think there are limits to what people can do, and I don't think that we should limit ourselves at any point in time, um, especially when we're young. Um, although on the other side, you have to make some decisions, right? So I think it's it's worthwhile realizing that whether you want to or not, you have to make decisions, and whether you make the right or wrong decisions, there are still more decisions that you have to make. It's already to make the wrong. It's okay to make the wrong decision if you realize it's wrong and then change it. It kind of doesn't matter much, because that's much better than making no decision. Yeah, it's interesting how children internalize things. I mean, they also experiment all the time. They try different things in different ways. It's difficult, I think, maybe to understand why a child does something like that. Maybe it's because they see parents working hard and they want to work hard. Maybe it's because they begin to understand that I have time now and I don't know if I will have time in the future. When children start to realize that you plan backwards and not forwards, it's a big step. Yeah, you don't look at where you are and plan where you want to go. You look at where you go and realize what you need to do now to get there when you want to get there. Yeah, every journey is a back plan, because you have to realize that if something is due in school on Monday and you are busy on Sunday, then you have to bring everything forward closer to now in order to achieve it. And that's something that not a lot of people can do, because they leave things to the last minute all the time, believing that what will be will be, and that's okay. But that's not to realize that you have some control in the situation. And if you are prepared to take control over the situation, you will get better results in life. Because if you are prepared to, if you say, okay, I've got 2 weeks to prepare for the exam, I need to study now, blah, 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 you will always get better results than if you study, just the day before or 2 days before. And even if the person studies just 2 days before, quick in is quick out. What you learn quickly, you usually lose quickly, unless it's some extreme circumstance. And what you learn slowly over a longer period of time, you keep it in your head for longer. So, yeah. Well, one of the fears that parents have is that if they don't push the kids will have no direction. There's a lot of evidence to show that this is not actually true. That that every individual is very self-directed. And for example, I homeschool my kids, and what that means is some of the time I direct and prepare their education. But also some of the time my kids come to me and they say, I want to study. I want to do school work. Yeah. And that was a very interesting learning experience for me, because it sort of proved my theory that they didn't need me. They like to have my permission, but they didn't need me to want to learn and to want to study. So very often my son will decide, okay, I want to do a couple of hours of mathematics, or a couple of hours of reading, or a couple of hours of science or something. He will make that decision himself. Very often my older daughter wants to read and study and do schoolwork from, say, 9 o'clock in the evening to 12 o'clock in the evening, because that works for her. It's a bit crazy for me, but why should she live in my world, right? So I think maybe because it's more easy for everybody. Okay, that makes sense. But she's got a world as well of things that are important to her. She has her little house in the garden, and she takes care of it every day. She makes sure that there's flowers there, and she arranges the chairs, and she puts out everything to make it all look all neat and nice and organized. And it's her thing, and nobody said that she should do it. And it's nice, I think, because she has control over it. It's not going to change the world, but it's just a nice thing to see.